Hello, and welcome to this roundup of my 5 favorite romance novels that I read this month. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot, and you're watching Random Olive Reads. First up is Good Duke Gone Wild by Bethany Bennett. This is book 1 of the Blue Stocking bookseller series. I'm always a fan of the secret novelist trope, especially when one is particularly popular. Caro secretly writes erotic novels, gets tossed out by her vicar father, finds refuge in her cousin's bookshop, and somehow develops a crush on a handsome duke. That handsome Duke Dorian has also been pining for Caro and is awkward as hell about it. But then he needs to hire someone from his favorite bookshop to catalog and sell his late wife's book collection, and Caro is sent for the job. While the flirting and attraction between Dorian and Caro is fairly straightforward, we get to read a much more interesting plot involving Dorian's late wife and the affair she had been having before she died. Mystery, teamwork, problem solving, and spice all in one book. The Virgin Who Vindicated Lord Darlington by Anna Bradley is book 2 of the Swooning Virgin Society series. Cecilia has gone undercover pretending to be a housemaid to Darlington Castle to find evidence of whether the Marquess of Darlington murdered his wife, as rumors suggest. Overbearing Gideon senses that Cecilia is lying about being a housemaid, but is unsuccessful at dismissing her from service, especially when he realizes how good she is at caring for his niece. Meanwhile, there are mysterious happenings around the castle, with sightings of a ghost of the late Lady Darlington haunting the castle. As Cecilia gets closer to Gideon, she doesn't believe that he's capable of killing his wife, but there isn't much evidence to prove his innocence. They're both very much attracted to each other, but Cecilia's keeping secrets and Gideon's engaged to someone else, besides also being Cecilia's employer. This book was emotional and action packed, especially when we find out who's really haunting the castle. The Truth According to Ember by Danica Nava is a contemporary romance. Ember is tired of being poor and overlooked in the job search, so she embellishes a little, or a lot, on her resume. She gets the job, but continues to tell little white lies to all of her coworkers, including one very handsome Donowa who she is not allowed to date per company policy. This book is a lot of Ember learning to adapt in her new corporate world, and Donowa being the best supportive coworker slash friend slash crush. While we get to see the super cute romance develop, we're still a little wary of the potential fallout from all her lies. Ember is delightfully awkward and funny in the best ways, and the workplace drama and humor in this book reminded me a lot of Ali Hazelwood's books. Four Weekends and a Funeral by Ellie Palmer is another standalone contemporary romance novel. We have a super awkward and tragic setup here when Allison shows up to her ex-boyfriend's funeral and his family thinks that they were still very recently dating. The ex-boyfriend's sister insists on keeping up the ruse because it might help the family deal with their grief and all, and then she ends up volunteering to pack up his condo. Also on the job is Adam, the ex boyfriend's grumpy best friend who's trying to make his own amends towards his deceased friend. As Allison and Adam spend every weekend together, they inevitably get closer together, but it's all sorts of guilt ridden since Adam thinks that he's falling for his fresh in the grave buddy's girlfriend. Allison has her own hangups about living life to the fullest after having a preventative mastectomy due to her risk of breast cancer, and she'd probably rather be a cozy homebody. This was cute and funny, and the relationship buildup was so very good. Hot Earl Summer by Erica Ridley is a historical romance in Book 5 of the Wild Winchester series. It's Elizabeth's turn to take the lead on a case, putting her in the countryside to look for the missing will of a countess in an earl's castle. Instead of finding Earl there, she finds his tinkering cousin Stephen. We get a grumpy romance in this one, with both Elizabeth and Stephen preferring solitude to company. It's fun to see them work together to try to find the missing will. Plus, I liked seeing Elizabeth being appreciative of Stephen's inventions instead of disparaging his oddness. There is a common annoying villain around who believes he won the castle in a card game, but once they find the will, it'll clear up all this property question. Plus, we get a full family of Winchesters showing up for the big confrontation. Here's where I remind you that I also run an online shop on Etsy. I've got hand folded paper corner bookmarks that make really great gifts and giveaways. And if you're always reading multiple books at once, you can never have too many bookmarks. They come in colorful sets of 4 and ship for free in the United States. If you want to purchase in bulk for book boxes, gift shops, or blind date with books, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found a book or 5 to add to your TBR. Links to all of these books are in the description box. Like and subscribe to get updates, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.